In episode 2.1 of Unshuffled, we discuss the self-titled debut album from Pale Grey Law. But first, here's our awesome intro music from Seven Planets. Scotty D.
Hey, man. How are things?
Great, we got ourselves a new band at last.
We do. We've now, although we have updates on our old band, but yes, we're moving forward.
Yeah, it's a
onwards.
Big moment in the history of this podcast.
We start round 2.
Round 2 of who knows how many.
Right. This will be a short round, bro, though.
yeah. Which kind of by choice, right? We had that in mind when we made this decision. Let's get through a quick one, and then we've got a longer one coming up when we're done with these boys.
Yes, we do. But it'll be good.
But yeah, Pale Grey Law is our band today. And it's exciting. And I kind of, just as like I had fear of going out when I first left my property last week after a couple of months, I've almost got fear of new band. I don't know what the acronym for that is. Can I really listen to someone else?
I found myself as I was listening the first time through this kind of panicking in a way, because with Atomic Bitchwax I knew what to expect, and I sort of even knew how to talk about it, and I knew all of the acting characters. And this one, it was all of a sudden I was like, oh jeez, I don't know what I'm gonna say. But I'm in. We'll see if I figured it out.
Yeah.
If I figured out something to say. I hope so.
All right. Well, yeah, we will see. There's a lot I don't know about this band still, so hopefully you can fill me in on a few gaps. But yeah, we'll be looking at the first album from Pale Grey Law tonight. Or today, your time. How are you going anyway?
Good. Things are good. Things are, at least on my end of the world, kind of starting to open up a little bit. The sort of the fear factor has been dialed down. I'm talking with the virus.
Right.
Not the socio-political situation that's happening. But the virus fear factor seems to have gone down a bit. People I'm in Vermont. Everybody's they're sort of going about their business, but everybody's still doing it with face masks. I know that's not true for the rest of the country, but here we were at a rally this past weekend, and everybody had face masks and respecting the social distance.
Well done, Vermont.
How about you? How are things?
Yeah, good. I'm, as you know, I'm a fan of Australian rules football, and it's restarting tomorrow. Australia's got on top of this virus in a big way, and it's allowed them to restart their major sporting code. So it's happening tomorrow, the very first game since, I think it was March the last time they played. And my team's playing. It's a huge game. So yeah, that's going to fill a pretty big void in my life. And it's a great chance. International listeners, if you've never watched Australian rules football, you got nothing else to watch, so you might as well tune in.
What's that going to look like? It's not going to be in front of a live audience, I assume.
No,
an empty stadium.
It will be an empty stadium. I think they're going to pipe in some crowd noises into the broadcast just so it's not super weird. Hopefully they get it at the right time, and I don't know how that'll go down, but they're talking about having crowds before the end of the year, which is the luxury of having got on top of this virus before it spread. But that's really exciting for me. So tune in, Australian football.
I don't know if I can get that from Vermont. I'll give it a go.
Just find it online somewhere. You'll find
It's got to be
I'll
online
send- I'll
somewhere.
send you a link.
Do it.
Put it on the show notes.
All right. So
Yes. Let's remind people who we are first. We are Unshuffled. We are looking track by track, album by album. We're working our way through different bands, and we've just finished our first band. Our 2 podcasts ago, we finished up with the Atomic Bitchwax until they release a new album, and loved them. And I've actually had a couple of sneaky back listens to the Atomic Bitchwax just in the last couple of weeks too. I must say I've been so reluctant to leave them that I went for my first drive, and my driving choice was the Atomic Bitchwax. I've also
I was saying my copy of Gravitron showed up on vinyl, so
Yep.
that was it, again with the purple vinyl.
Purple, yeah. I was going to say, I guess it's going to be purple, right?
They're a fan, but I kind of am too.
Yeah. Again, you can't listen to that until you get back here to your record player.
Right.
But good to have. Nice little keepsake.
I put it on a thumbtack and just spun it really fast.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything. I hope I didn't ruin it.
Yeah. So anyway, we've got a new band. So tonight we're looking at Pale Grey Law. We've decided to go for a band that's only got 2 albums out, just to get another one in before we dive into another band with a lot more albums in Gojira, which will be the band after this. But we thought we'd just have a little short band in the meantime. One of the things that appealed to us about Pale Grey Law was that their second album is on one of our favorite labels, Small Stone. The first album, though, wasn't. That was a self-titled release. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about the first album that we'll be talking about tonight, and where the band's from and all the rest. So what do you got for us, Scotty?
All right. So this came out on June 18th. Wow, it's almost 4 years ago to the day. June 18th of 2016. And I cannot find much information. So as it seems, right now you can only get the vinyl through Oak Island Records.
Yeah.
And then they must have their own independent digital release. But as far as a physical copy of who's distributing the CDs, it doesn't seem that anybody is, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I couldn't find the CDs. Big Cartel was the website that had the vinyl. But yeah, I've had to get the digital copy of this, unfortunately. But I would have loved the CD. If anyone out there knows where to get it, please email us or let us know.
They're from Ohio, and everything about this first album seems pretty Ohio-centric.
Yep.
It's
Columbus,
produced,
right?
Yes, and it was produced by Andy Sartain, who's worked with and then I looked through, and a ton of other bands from Ohio, from that area, is who he sort of worked with. I have no information as to where it was recorded at. I assume if I could have dug a little deeper into Andy Sartain, it's probably some studio that he works out of with regularity. There's some Aaron White is one of the big names that he works with. I'm not familiar with, but lots of stuff involving with this guy. And then the lineup. So this is where there was some confusion, is because if you look at the videos that we're posting in the show notes, it's clearly a 4-piece.
Yes.
However, the lineup, the only names I've got suggest a 3-piece. And so what we'll find out, I guess, moving forward is the 4th member is this a touring guitar player who's there to sort of fill out the sound. Because as I was going through and listening to a lot of the songs, it was one of those where this sounds really full here, and what will it sound like live? And so did they add a touring guitar player to sort of fill in that sound, or are they now a 4-piece on the second album? So we'll find out later, I guess. But the lineup as now is Michael Miller on vocals, guitar, and theremin. There's a some theremin interludes in there.
Yeah.
Donovan Johnson on bass, and then Adam Miller may or may not be a brother. Miller's pretty common name on drums.
Yeah. Have you been to Columbus?
I don't think so. I think as far as Ohio, I've only ever been, I think, just Cincinnati and Cleveland.
Right.
In fact, we're about to drive cross country in a week, and we're going to stay in Cleveland for the night.
Okay. Oh, you should have gone through Columbus.
I know. No, I've not been to Columbus. And if you look at, actually, I was looking at their last several shows, and their last several shows have all been in Columbus as well. So it seems like they're still pretty rooted to their home base.
Yeah, no, I've had some impressive supports, and it's even back in the day, back when they were, back around the time of this album, they were supporting some really good bands. It looks like a really good scene there in Columbus. That's why I'm asking. It seems like there's a really cool arty scene, a really cool music scene. I think the cover art. Have you got anything on the cover artist? I think he's a local Colombian.
Yep.
What do you call them? Colombian? I don't know.
Columbusan. I'm not sure. I don't know. It's Joel Chastain is his name.
Yeah.
And as far as the cover, look, here's my thing about the cover. If I am a local band and I'm releasing my first independent release and this was my cover, I would have been absolutely excited by this cover.
Yeah.
I get where the cover that we see on the next album, and we'll talk about that when we talk about the next album, is definitely a step up.
Yeah. But
if this was my band and this was our first album, I would absolutely love that cover.
I think it's a cool cover. I love it. There's a link. I'll put a link on the show note to some of his other work. He's a good artist. I like his stuff.
Yeah, there was another Matter of Planets, I think, was another band he'd worked with.
Yeah, he's done some cool concert posters, and yeah, just I really like his style. And yeah, from the gigs that I've seen, I think Columbus is I've never been to the US, but my fascination with the US is not with New York and the big cities. My fascination is with the smaller places. Like, I've always wanted to go to Portland. I guess that's still a big city, but places like Columbus and I prefer to go to Amarillo than Dallas. Or I want to see some of the lesser known places, and a place like Columbus I think would be really interesting to spend a week there and go and see a band and get a feel for it.
I will say that as someone who has spent a pretty significant amount of time in a Midwestern university town, they're just these little, as you'd said before, just kind of like these oases of artistic communities kind of amidst all this farmland. And I grew up in Iowa City, but Columbus is home to Ohio State. And so it's just sort of that, there's sort of those little thriving artistic scenes kind of in these city limits and within these confines that are usually quite cool. I know when I was growing up in Iowa City, I had just missed basically any band that was on its way, to whatever. They came through Iowa City on that first leg of the tour before they sort of took off. And they would play at a club where we used to play at all the time. And I imagine Columbus, I've never been, but it's probably the same thing. You're catching bands just right before they hit, and you're seeing them in just these little dark clubs.
Yeah. Be cool. And I'm wondering if this is a uni band.
That's a good question, actually. I wonder too.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything in the interviews to say that it is, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's something that came out of university. So, some bunch of mates at university.
Huh. Yeah, no, I don't know. I didn't see that either. You can definitely, whatever drew them together, you can definitely hear the influences on this album.
Yeah, and I'll occasionally perhaps a little too much. They wear their influences on their sleeve, as they say, but maybe sometimes it's a little too much on their sleeve. Would be my a small criticism. I don't want to start on a negative. But yeah, their influences are pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But they're good bands to be influenced by, having said that.
Oh, absolutely. And with that, I was listening to there's a music podcast, and I'm absolutely drawing a blank right now, on Broken Record. And I was listening to that, and Rick Rubin does some really interesting interviews where he kind of gets in deep to whoever it is he's talking to. And several of the most recent, working on the house, I've been listening to it. And several of the most recent ones have been with singers. And a lot of them have been talking about how early on, if you go back and listen to their early works, before they had figured out what their voice was, it was them imitating their influences.
Right.
And so while it is really on the nose on this album, I found myself, because I was listening to these conversations with Rick Rubin going, oh, okay, this is that first album. This is that first album where the band, 4 or 5 albums down the road, and you're talking to Michael Miller, the singer, and he's like, oh yeah, I was maybe, I don't know. But sort of this, I guess, is where he works that out.
Yeah. And well, interestingly, the vocal style changes from song to song.
It absolutely, the accent changes from song to song.
I was wondering if were changing singers.
I did too. There were a couple, it was, and I'll talk about it when we get to it, but there was a couple, was like, wait, where did they find this English guy?
Yeah, I made a note of that too, the English accent. Speaking of English, I noticed they've got the English spelling of grey.
I did too. And the only reason I actually noticed that was because you didn't comment on it.
The correct spelling, I should
say. Right. It was when it dawned on me that it had escaped your critical eye that I was like, oh, that's why.
No, it didn't escape my eye. I did make a note of the fact that they spelt it correctly, and I was happy for them. Yeah. So, yeah, I did notice, and I also, as you said, did notice a little sort of English tint, in the vein of a very well-known English singer on a couple of the songs. I don't know, you didn't know where the studio was, but I did quite like the production on the album all the same. Nice big guitar sound throughout.
I did too. There's one song, and I'll talk about when we get to it, where it seems to fall off. And I don't know if that was intentional. We'll talk about it when we get to it. But there is, I agree. I really like the production value of it, but then all of a sudden there's one song where it just dips.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Fill me in when we get to it. I didn't note it. But yeah, nice. I mean, you need, you're going to have this genre. You need a big guitar sound, and they bring that. A lot of, and again, as well as this vocal style changes, the effects on the vocals change from song to song, which is a little distracting perhaps, but it does give a bit of variation throughout. The drums are nice and big, thundering sort of drums. I found the lead guitar got a little bit lost from time to time. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But I like the sound of it all the same, wherever it was recorded.
I did, just as a note of something that I didn't have a second ago, I did just find a LinkedIn account for an Andy Sartain, who's an owner of Mindfield Recording Studio in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, there you go.
That's got to be him, right?
Yeah, that'll be him. So, yeah, let's assume it was recorded there.
I'll write that in.
All right, shall we bust into the track by track?
Let's do it.
All right, the first song is called The Conjuration. So we get a nice little bit of feedback to start the album, followed by a big thundering drum sound, and then just the big riff.
I thought this was a cool first song. Yeah, it's the way to open. When I first put it on, and this was what I heard, it was just sort of, okay, all right. And this song, it was in the run as far as, favorite songs on the album. This song is up there. And it dawned on me that it's up there when I found myself singing the song in the shower quite a bit, actually.
Oh, thanks for that image.
Sorry, but this is the song that I was humming in my head when I was going about my day to day.
Mine was Life in the Hive, actually. So there you go. We'll get to that next. But yeah,
Yep.
Great riff. One thing that stood out for me in both this and the next song was just the catchiness of the chorus. I did not expect, and that shows in the fact that we were singing these, as we went about our daily lives. Catchy is not something you normally associate with doom.
No, no.
But
I'm not terribly familiar with. Sorry, with psychedelic doom. So maybe catchy is in psychedelic doom. But yeah, no, I agree.
Maybe that's the difference. But the chorus, they've got a real art for writing a chorus that just sticks in your brain afterwards, and often with a little bit of a backing vocal behind it too, just to add to the catchiness. But really good. A simple first song, and simplicity is a theme that I'll come back to again and again.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want that can sound like a criticism if you call something simple. It's not intended to be, but simple in that the structure of the song is fairly straightforward. We've got 4 lines in the verses. We've got verse, chorus, simple rhyming pattern. And one just sort of basic riff that ties it all together. So still very effective. And I was really, when I first put this on, I was so happy. It's like, this was a great choice. So clearly a good opening track as well.
What I like about the way the lyrics aren't structured in a way where if you look at them, and the lyrics are available on Bandcamp, and we've got links to that on the show notes. But when you look at the lyrics, you look at the structure of the lyrics, it's not so obvious where the chorus is. So the lyrics sort of work as their own single entity. And I don't know, I kind of like just structurally how, when you're looking at the lyrics in isolation, how they've done that. It's not so obvious that, oh, here's the chorus break in this song.
Yeah. What is this? Oh, this is about, I can't remember the topic of this song.
He uses it's I think so. What they seem to be doing here is a lot with kind of there's sort of that sci-fi element to it all, right? And he uses all of these, he uses so much visual imagery in the creation of the songs, and I get the sense that the theme of this album is kind of about sort of just breaking free of conformity, which is definitely not, or is definitely a common theme in metal, especially. And I think that theme kind of keeps popping up in most of these songs. And I was looking for whether or not this was sort of a concept album. I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
No, there are some common themes, but I don't think it's a concept album.
But they could.
Yeah.
He could easily, once he gets further along the way here, could easily create a concept album
for sure,
because he's creating a world, and I think that the Life in the Hive, if we're ready to move on to that one, that's where he really kind of now all of a sudden. So the first one, The Conjuration, we've got like this, just kind of this visual imagery, but Life in the Hive, now we've got conflict, right? So if we're building a story arc, that's where we kind of see it in the second one.
Yeah, so this had a real sci-fi vibe to these lyrics, I thought, and that idea of living in a society where you're being watched all the time. Again, we've got a simple riff here, a nice rumbling bass line sitting underneath it. We've got a tighter cymbal sound, so we've got a closed hi-hat as opposed to the splashy one on the first one. Again, we've got that huge catchy chorus with an backing vocal, which again I just wasn't expecting, but I really liked it when I heard it. And we get the theremin here. I'm not sure if I didn't catch any theremin on the first track, but we got it here just before the final chorus. So that adds to the list. So I've already got it by what are we going to buy?
Oh, Jesus.
For our band, we're going to have a VibraSlap and what's that keyboard thing with the tapes attached to it?
I know, and I feel
The
ashamed that I'm the Mellotron.
So our band's going to have a Mellotron, a VibraSlap, and now a Theremin. But yeah, this was the catchiest one for me. I think this is my favorite track. This is the one that I've come away from remembering. I'm a big science fiction fan, and I love the lyrics here. About living in a hive, and but they're trying to blend in, but resist the mind control. I like the lyrics. I like the imagery. My only complaint was the guitar solo towards the end was kind of buried. But yeah, a really memorable and catchy song with some great imagery in the lyrics.
So this also is in the running of the favorite songs. So I wondered about that, the guitar solo being buried, if that was intentional to sort of take the focus off it, because it starts with that guitar riff, like that Peter Frampton-y guitar riff at the beginning that isn't really the feel I get for the rest of the song, which is a good thing. And so I don't know, maybe that one, but yeah, the guitar at the end and the guitar at the beginning don't totally match up.
But you liked it?
I did like it. I think this and The Conjuration, and then another one, which I'll mention later, there are three of them that I really keep going back and forth to on this album.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to Black Sun Rise. So here's where the vocals make a sudden switch, and this is. I thought, man, that's just Ozzy Osbourne has taken over this man's soul or something. I don't know.
this one and the last track are absolutely. I don't know if Ozzy Osbourne phoned in the vocals but yeah, you could definitely. Yeah. This one, and I didn't. Did you
have an Ozzy? Did you have a Sabbath song in mind that it reminded you of, or just Ozzy generally? Because I'd written down a particular song that I thought of. But
this one actually, it reminded me of Ozzy Osbourne fronting Soundgarden. It was sort of that C sharp tuning,
right?
Yeah. So
okay,
that was where I go with this.
Okay, no, the vocals reminded me of "Electric Funeral" was the song. But anyway.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I can hear that.
Yeah.
Which one is it on? Is that on 4?
No, it's on the first one, isn't it?
Is it on the first one?
I think so. I don't know.
All right. Anyway, yes.
We should know this. Every metal band's been influenced by Black Sabbath. There isn't one that hasn't been. And most of them, or many of them, are pretty shameless about it. So it's okay. Like, I don't have a problem with it. I just thought on the first 2 tracks he'd really established himself as a really good singer, and then to make the sudden switch to Ozzy style was a bit jarring to me. Yeah,
I agree. But this one, and I don't know, this is the first song that I noticed that they were tuned to C sharp. They do like the C sharp tuning, which is sort of that kind of doomy, Black Sabbath-y, Soundgarden-y sound. I definitely didn't notice it in Life in the Hive, and I guess I would need to go back and listen to The Conjuration to see if it started there. But this kind of might be where that element of their sound kicked off. And this is also where I kind of realized their build is sort of psychedelic doom, and maybe that shows up more on the second album. And there are little elements, but I didn't really, I guess, notice the psychedelic part so much in this song. And I think the psychedelic element seems to be all just Michael Miller, right? It seems to be either on the guitars or the theremin that is bringing that to play.
I think it's just having a theremin makes you psychedelic. These are the darkest lyrics so far. We're talking human sacrifice in this one.
Yes, we are.
So that's doomy.
That is doomy.
Yeah, I really like the song, actually. It's a crushing riff. I really liked it. It's just a shame that the vocals were a little distractingly similar to Ozzy.
Yeah.
Mm.
Which now moves us into Spiders.
Yep.
Okay, so we now are taking a whole other turn.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there's this. Do you remember it was this form of, it was before Britpop, right? Britpop kind of came, I guess, with maybe like your Oasis and your Blur. And before that, there was sort of, I think they called it like the Manchester sound, but then there was also sort of like this shoegaze.
Mm.
And this is where I sort of hear those influences, like maybe like early Stone Roses, kind of this 90s British music scene, but not like the Oasis, Blur, Britpop thing.
Okay, that's interesting, because I was looking for parallels as well, and they were not in the metal. The guitar sound reminded me of my favorite REM album, which is Monster. So that shimmering guitar effect, I thought it brought back that album for me. I actually went back and listened to a couple of songs off Monster just to say, hang on, am I right in thinking that? I was like, yeah, it's not that far off.
So that would have been around the same time.
Yeah. As the Stone Roses, yeah. And I think most metalheads probably like that, have that as their favorite REM album, because it's the darkest and the most guitar-y.
Right. And we have a different English singer now. So we had Ozzy on the last one, and now we've got sort of like I don't know, what was that guy from like Suede, Brett Anderson or whatever. I mean, it's just kind of like this different British lead singer has stepped in.
Yeah, that kind of reverby, dreamy vocals. The other band that this song brought to mind, as much for its simplicity as anything, was a fairly obscure sort of offshoot of Sleep called the Sabians. I don't know if you've ever heard of them all. It was two members of Sleep. One of them went off to become a monk for like 7 years, lived in a monastery somewhere, and another one, I think he played in Om or some other band, and they kind of hooked up a few years later and in this band called the Sabians. But it was quite simple, slow. It certainly wasn't doom, but just kind of a simple rock, but really good. And again, simple's not bad. So this reminded me of the Sabians a little bit as well. So perhaps I'll put a link to a Sabian song on the show notes if you want to follow up that link. Yeah. Did you like the song?
Yeah, I did. But it was okay. There are 3 songs that I kind of tagged as their little sort of shoegaze foray, and this is the first of those songs. This isn't my favorite of their dance into shoegaze, though.
Okay.
The next song, She Radiates.
Yep.
Which is this one feels like this could have even been a hit on the British, alternate music charts back in the 90s. But this is the third one of this. When I was telling you of the songs where I just kind of keep coming back to,
right?
It's this one, and I like this song.
You like She Radiates?
I like She Radiates. I could see where. Well, I'll leave it there. But anyway, this is the second of the shoegaze.
All right. Yeah. So this has the theremin in the opening stanza. Sounds like a love song to some. At first, I thought it was is it a song to a sorceress or a female spirit? I ended up deciding it was a love song to his electric heater. If you read the lyrics, it kind of works. And you'd probably need one in Columbus, wouldn't you?
You sure would.
Yeah.
You sure would.
And you'd probably really love it.
See? That makes me like this song even more.
Red locks of fire that shift and flow. Silver attire, shimmering glow. They have that sort of silver back to them.
They glow red.
She radiates.
So it's like one of those little portable space heaters that you just sort of
Yeah.
drag with you from room to room. Yeah,
You put a blanket around your shoulders and sit next to the yeah, and write a song about it.
I like it.
Hmm.
This is also a song I would love to hear, and from what I can tell, it doesn't seem like they played this song live. But I think this song with like just a deeper, richer low end, not necessarily the bass, just the low end in general needs to be sort of deeper and richer, kind of fill out the sound. This could be a cool song in a small club.
Yep. No, I liked it, and I quite liked that block of two. I didn't mind that shift to shoegazing, and variation's good. I'm happy with the variation. I thought there was enough variation on this album to maintain my interest throughout. We get on to Ruins next.
So this is the one where I felt that the recording quality or production quality changed for better or for worse. I don't know, but this one feels more raw.
Yeah, it's certainly rock.
Yeah, and this one feels like if any of these songs was played with, just in one take, everybody set up, let's go, let's do this. It was this one. It almost was something like just being in bands in university. This would be the one that your buddy brings out the tape and says, "This is a song we just recorded," and he pops it in the car and you listen to it. It kind of had that sort of just even that raw feel to it. Like I was listening to it on the tape deck in my 1999 Ford Focus or whatever I was driving at the time.
A little nostalgia for you. I didn't know you had a Focus.
There you go. Two. I had one in Spain too.
You had two Foci.
I know, and I didn't intentionally buy either one. They were just the only card I could afford at the time.
You're only supposed to have one Focus. By definition. So there were, the sort of fantasy lyrics in Ruins, some black winged creature destroying the world or a city or something. Maybe a little bit high schoolish, the lyrics, but they suited the music. I didn't mind the song as a change in pace. I didn't notice the production drop as much as you did, so maybe I'll pick that up next time. Maybe you've just ruined it for me. But yeah, I thought it was fine. I thought it worked, and I liked the pacing change.
They still play this one live.
Do they?
Yeah, from what I've seen.
Okay, cool. All right, so then we move on to "Woe Betide Us." Cool.
This is
the title.
The third of the Shoegaze trilogy.
Yeah, and this is the English guy who comes back. Although this one's not Aussie. This one I thought was more Oasis than Aussie.
It's the same guy from She Radiates, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's that English sounding style anyway.
Right. This one has cool little bass runs in the chorus. It's got a trippy little guitar solo here. They earn that psychedelic tag.
I like the guitar solo in this at the end.
They also still play this one live.
Okay.
I like the backing vocals, and I wonder, are they? I think they're him. I think it's just him overdubbing his own vocals.
Right.
Michael Miller.
Okay.
Which is where, if that's true, so this is, by the time I'd gotten to this point in the album, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, as I was listening, it's like, well, if they're a three-piece, how do they pull this off live, right? Does it just sound thin? Or, so that must be where, if this fourth guy comes in, this is where he fills it out. He adds the vocals, he adds more guitar, etc.
I suspect we'll see a fourth guy on the next album.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's my suspicion. I have no inside knowledge, but the fact that there's four guys when you see them live, I figure that they've recorded something and then found someone who can fill the bill.
Right.
So yeah, I quite like "Woe Betide Us." The lyrics in this one are about passing through some gate into another dimension or something like that. that interdimensionality is a theme that's come up a couple of times.
But he lays thick on the imagery, which if he's creating worlds, which he seems to be, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind it. Passing through the gate, spiraling galaxies or something. Yeah, that was fine.
Kaleidoscope flame.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
And just the title, Woebatitis, that's cool. Now the next song, Tell the Masters. This one's and a couple of towards the end they start singing more about environmental destruction.
Right, rivers of black tar.
Yeah, so this seems to be about some vision of the future, where someone's looked forward into the future and foreseen the rivers of black tar and the scars on the earth. And they're now telling the masters that you serve there must be a change of plan. So there is maybe there are a bunch of greenies as well. Or maybe they're just wise and we should listen to them. Maybe, one or the other.
I wondered because it's got it starts with that kind of Halloween-y howling wind at the beginning.
Yep.
And it's sort of the mood, I guess, that it set for me was kind of similar to Cormac McCarthy, The Road.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that had any connection to what was in his head while he was writing, but it was just sort of that vast, desolate emptiness that we've no return from.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So I mean, at this stage, those shoegazy ones are we've kind of left those behind a bit now.
Mm-hmm.
We're back into some more traditional doomy territory.
This one, sonically, that low end that was missing and She Radiates is definitely sonically the song is better balanced.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yep. And then we get into Grave Future, which
here comes Ozzy again.
Yeah, now we're back to being Sabbathy.
Right.
But now we're faster Sabbath, so we're more like St. Vitus Dance or something.
Right.
And again, so here we're singing about environmental destruction. I'm focusing on the lyrics, but excuse me for that. It's nice to have a lyric sheet for once, I got to say. We're sort of intergenerational equity is the theme here, with the guys going ooh in the background,
as you do.
But then at the end it's like, well, we're all staffed, but just sit back and enjoy the ride. On a sinking ship, no shore in sight, sit back and enjoy the ride. So I don't know if that's a message of hope or just resignation to finish the album.
Yeah, right.
Or a combination.
It does kind of. There is the album kind of abruptly ends, right? I mean, where there's a couple key changes in this song, more so than in any of the other songs, actually, and then it just kind of ends on that.
Yeah,
as they're going through the solos, a couple key changes, and then just done.
Yeah, a little bit. I did feel like it would have been nice to have a longer song in here somewhere and a bit of. They call themselves psychedelic, or someone calls them psychedelic, but I would have liked a 10-minute trip out at some point just to sort of mix it up,
Yeah. I'm giving them that this is the first album.
Yeah.
They're sorting through all of that. Like I miss instrumentals. Here it is. Yeah. I'm looking at this going, I miss a good instrumental number here to round it out.
Yeah. It's a simple. There's nowhere on this where you think, "Wow, that song's incredible," technically, and that's okay. I mean, you think about even the greatest bands in history. Generally, the first album almost always is the simplest. You think about Led Zeppelin's first album. I mean, quite a simple. Just old blues riffs. Black Sabbath's first album was simple. You could go on, think of any big band. Their first album generally was the simplest, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I am looking forward to their second one. I'm not sure that I'm going to come back to this over and over. This will be something that I'll think of from time to time, and I'll probably play my favorite tracks off it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about the deep. I'm not sure how many deep cuts there are that I'll seek out, and maybe I don't know. Certainly, those first two songs are strong, and I'll be happy to hear them, and I'm sure I'll find myself saying, "I want to hear that Life in the Hive" or whatever, and maybe sort of Spiders and She Radiates just as something a bit different. But I'm not sure after that in this album if there's much I'll be coming back to.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear the next album. I don't think the next album is going to sound. I suspect it's going to be different.
Yeah, well, it's on.
Right.
They've got a label now.
3 years have passed between the two albums, so I mean, and then if you look at what they're playing live, they're really playing very little off this album. There seemed to be very little. I mean, nobody's keeping like I said, it looks like it's the only physical you can get is off of Oak Island Records, which I don't know if we dig through, is that also a Columbus label?
Don't know.
So, I mean, I don't know. I kind of get the sense that there's this sort of wiping the slate and starting over with the second album.
Having said that, I mean, if you put yourself in the shoes of Small Stone, can you see what they, do you see what they saw in them? Can you see why they would sign them and put some money into film clips and some nice fancy vinyl?
I'd need to see them live.
Yeah.
Like I'm willing to bet there's there's definitely elements here in the song where yes, but I would definitely like to see them live.
Yep. I think the second album is where we'll see a lot of the elements, the promising elements come together. I'm really looking forward to the second album. This hasn't. It's certainly. I don't want to give the impression that I didn't like this album. I did. I had a lot of fun with it over the last couple of weeks, and the really good tracks off this are really good. So yeah, I think they've set it up nicely. I think this was okay. Can we produce an album? Yeah, all right. We did it. And there's some really good songs on there that. So. Yeah, I just hope they sort of bed down the vocals and stick to the style that we saw in the first two songs rather than chopping and changing. I love the idea that we're going to I thought the theremin worked well when it came in, and I'd like to see that. I think that can be worked in even better on the second album. I'd like to, as you said, see a few more psychedelic elements, and the fact that Small Stone are playing up that aspect of them makes me suspect we will see a little more true psychedelia and perhaps some longer songs and some sort of tripped out bits, hopefully.
And lyrically, so he's like playing with just this whole idea of imagery and creating these worlds. And the songs seem to be sort of existing in these worlds where, not to go back to Bitchwax, but Cosnick sort of, his lyrics were more, and maybe the reason we didn't get lyric sheets, but he was playing more with sort of the sounds of words, right? The oral quality of the words, and the lyrics almost sort of served as another kind of rhythmic instrument.
Yep.
Whereas here, sorry, to go back to his name, Miller is, as I've said, he's sort of painting a picture and kind of taking you in to see it.
Yep. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I am hopeful that we'll see some growth in the second album. I'm pretty sure we will, but I had a lot of fun with this along the way. So well done, Pale Grey Law. If I ever get to Columbus, I'll. Who's the hockey team there? The Blue Jackets, is it? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I was just mapping out, and there's no way I'm gonna make it to Columbus. It's not on my route. I've got 2 toddlers in the back seat. There will be no detours.
No.
Sorry, Pale Grey Lore. Next time, well, they're not going to be playing anyway. Nobody's playing.
That's right. But you could go sit by the heater for a bit.
I could.
Yeah. But yeah, enjoyed it. If you're interested in it, and I mean, it's hard to get anyway, but you can get it off Bandcamp. $7, I think, US was the download, and I think it's worth the $7. And I'm sure it'll come up again in future, and I'll listen to this and go, yeah, that was good, and it's worth spending some time with it. And I'm also thinking, I'm imagining it will be worth it because we could have just listened to Eschatology, right? We could have just jumped straight in. Look, Small Stone, new album, Doom sounds good. Let's listen to Eschatology. But now we go into that, knowing where they've come from, and I think it's going to set up that next album for us nicely.
I agree. I do agree.
And that, again, that's one of the nice things about what we're doing is that we're not just picking and choosing, but we're picking a band and starting at the start so that we get to fully appreciate the growth along the way. And I think that really adds to it. So that's something I want to keep doing, even if this podcast, even if it gets so popular that we have to stop doing it. Which is looking increasingly likely.
All right. I mean, where we start making too much money off of advertisements, and where the fans are just bombarding us with emails.
We just can't go to the front door anymore. But I still want to, whichever band I'm choosing, I don't want to just pick an album halfway through their career. But if I decide a band is good enough to listen to, as we did with Pale Grey Lore, I want to start at the start and step my way through their career and give each album the time to understand where they were at that point in time, and then that then allows you to appreciate more where they go, 2 or 3 years afterwards.
Well, it's going to be interesting, and we've not talked about this, and it's something that I've wondered. I started actually wondering as I was listening to this album, because Eschatology, which we'll go into next time, came out less than a year ago. And so, as it might be another 2 or 3 years before Pale Grey Lore comes out again. But if this thing is still going, if our podcast is still moving, do we go back and pick up those bands? Once we get like 4 or 5 bands in, and all of a sudden Pale Grey Lore or Gojira or Atomic Bitchwax releases another album, we kind of just jump back in.
Yeah. Absolutely, we do.
All right.
Executive decision.
No, I'm on board. I like it. I mean, we are going to do it, right? Because Atomic Bitchwax, we now have a new release date, June 30th, which we'll see. But I guess that perhaps doing a quick backslide into Atomic Bitchwax before we go into Gojira.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll get to the point where we've done so many bands that our podcast just becomes reviewing bands that we've already done, reviewing their new albums. Who knows?
Right.
Just keep popping up every week.
Huh.
All right. Did I get your favorite song off the album? I'm not sure you ever picked one.
So I did. I had my trio there. I didn't. I like.
You want to narrow it down?
I can do that. If I have to narrow it down, I hesitate to say this because you already said it. It would be Life in the Hive.
Right.
But The Conjuration, Life in the Hive, She Radiates. Those are the 3 that I find myself coming back to.
Yep. All right. Life in the Hive got me wanting to read a science fiction novel. I'm going to go and start one, I think, tonight. I
have the last of N.K. Jemisin's Broken Earth trilogy.
Ah, yeah, you've been talking about that.
So book 3, I'll start that probably. I've got another book that I need a couple more days of before I finish it. But
okay.
In fact, you have the key to my house. The first book's in my house. Go get it.
All right. Yeah, I'll just sit in your lounge chair and read it.
Do it. There's still beverages in there too, unless you've already got those. But
I'll put some vinyl on.
Do it.
Band Brownlow. We need to nominate some Band Brownlow votes.
So do
this
you
is
want
going
me
to
to
be
start?
tricky, given that we don't even know if there are 3 or 4 pieces at this point.
Yeah, I know. So we might be unfairly leaving one person out, but I
Yeah.
think I'm pretty confident that they were 3-piece on the recording of this album.
All right. So you think the guitarist doubled
I think
up?
yes, that's what
Okay.
I think.
All right.
And I wonder if they brought in more of a lead player. So that's the other thing I'm wondering. Are we going to get more sort of, I don't want to say showy, but more I don't know the word I'm looking for to describe it, but more stronger lead
Yep.
guitar on the next album.
More specialized. Or...
More specialized. There you go.
Mhm.
So here we go. I started with at the top. My 3 points go to Michael Miller.
Yeah.
He created this world that we're lost in, and
Yep.
and so to me that was. And then as far as the bottom, my number 2 or my 2-point position, I really wrestled with whether to give it to the bass player Donovan Johnson or the drummer Adam Miller, and I went. I'm going to go with Donovan Johnson, the bass player on this. It's close, but I feel that there's some moments where he shows us a little bit of what he can do in the chorus. A lot of the bass is pretty straightforward, but he's got some. There's a fuzz there somewhere. He kind of plays with the bass sounds a little bit. And so my 2 spot will go to Donovan Johnson and then Adam Miller for the 1 point.
Yeah. No, mine are exactly the same. Miller, Johnson, M. Miller, Johnson, A. Miller. For exactly the same reasons. I think Michael is, and I just hope those vocals. I just hope he picks a style next album. But I'll stop going on about that. But yeah, really liked the picture he created, and it seems like he's the driving or the creative force. I might be wrong, but he seems like the leader of the band when you see the live footage. I did like the bass at times. There were times where it stood out. I was like, oh yeah, that's a nice little bass line there. Or the drumming. I guess it's hard for doom drummers. I mean, you're never going to be. It's not like you're going to be the Mastodon guy or something. There's just not that much.
No, and you can't.
The drummer gets to do really. So I think what he does just fine.
Right. And you can't fill in the space with all of a sudden making. I mean, just that style of music doesn't. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something. But I agree with you that there's kind of that emptiness and that space needs to be respected in this genre.
Yeah. I mean, what you need is a good sounding drum kit, and it's certainly got that. And then you just need to just hang back and leave enough room for the big crushing guitar sound, which we get at various times throughout this album. Is it doom?
Yeah, I mean, they certainly listen to doom,
right?
You can't. No, I don't think you can tag this with any one label straight through. I think there are definite elements of doom. I don't even know if it's doom. Maybe it's just like God. I mean, but they got the C sharp tuning. That's one step. I couldn't call it psychedelic. I couldn't call it doom. It's certainly not pop. There's
no, it's not pop.
There's kind of like a crungy, not grunge, but kind of chunky, crungy sound to it. I can't straightforward. I think we would have to go back through and maybe label each song.
Yeah.
Or groupings of songs.
Yeah, I just had that thought at one point. Is this really doom? But I mean, the sound of the guitar, I guess, qualifies it as doom, and the pacing of most of the songs. But then I think of the sort of what I think of as the quintessential doom sound. I don't, I've never thought of doom being catchy, whereas this has some really catchy moments. So this has some real rocky bits, which I quite like. I mean, I'm happy for it to span different genres. Actually, I think that makes it interesting. But yeah, I'm not sure if this is a true Doom album.
The generic labeling of this band, if you just Google them, is rock.
Mm.
But if you go to Small Stone, they call them garage, psych, space rock, post punk, and stoner doom.
Yeah, I can see. I can see why they would be looking to pin a lot of different genres to it. It is fairly broad. I think it's a cross.
Here we go. I found it. Joined up in the summer of 2014. So was that before or after? Oh, wait a minute. That means he would be on here. No. Sorry. Xander Roseberry was added to the lineup in the winter of 2016.
Okay.
And Oak Island Records is an imprint of a German label.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Well, we got those wrong. But we were right about so yeah, definitely a 3-piece when this was recorded. And Xander Roseberry. That's kind of I'm kind of actually sorry that I've already named him my children. Xander Roseberry. That's kind of a badass name.
That's great. It's equal parts badass and also really nice.
very, very gentle.
Yeah. It's a cool name. All right, so I'm looking forward to the next album. It sounds like you are too, and you've got a lot of driving ahead of you. So let's hope it's a good one. Hopefully, your family like garage, space rock, psychedelic doom. With,
we'll see. So
Stone Roses sort of influence.
I was making a playlist for the drive. Right, we're looking at 19-hour drive at least. Right, 19 hours is what Google Maps tells you without factoring in one recently potty trained toddler and one other toddler who just hates her car seat. So 2 days if we're lucky of driving. Anyway, so I made the playlist of what we're gonna listen to, and I was letting everybody kind of have a say.
Yeah.
And my son went through and was picking his tunes, and he landed on Black Sunshine by White Zombie. So
okay,
I don't know how he found it, but he did. He was listening to it. He was loving it. So maybe he'll be my ally in this.
Okay, maybe you can put Jerusalem by Sleep on. That'll kill an hour of one of the.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. We may, I don't know, after this, maybe if we're resilient enough, we'll just drive back to Jakarta.
Yeah. The swim.
Right. We'll just put floaties on the side of our car.
Good luck with that. We'll hear about that on your next podcast. But,
right.
Hopefully, in among your playlist, you can squeeze a bit of eschatology.
Yeah, I'll get it in there. Somebody. I'm almost guaranteed I'll be doing all the driving. So at some point, people will fall asleep. And
they'll all be asleep. They'll all be asleep, and you can listen to the next Pale Grey Law album.
Right.
All right. Well, let's wrap things up. Don't forget, listeners, you can contact us in a number of different ways. You can email us unshuffledpod@gmail.com. Twitter, we're @unshuffledpod. We've got a website, unshuffledpod.com, where you can find the show notes and a few other things, little bios and bits and pieces. So check those out and contact us. Be great to hear from you. And we've got some thank yous, of course, to Small Stone, who we finally get a Small Stone record next, so that's exciting. They're a great label, so I'm looking forward to hearing what this band has done since moving to Small Stone. Seven Planets is the name of the band that you hear in the intro, and again a little bit in the outro. The track is called Vanguard off their great album Explorer. What color is the vinyl? Have you had a look?
I still don't have it. I still haven't gotten it.
Oh, you still don't have it? Okay.
No. I'm still waiting for it.
Okay. I think it might be orange, but anyway, I'm sure it'll be cool, whatever it is. So, yeah, grab yourself a copy of Seven Planets for a very groovy, instrumental-based cool band. Check them out on Bandcamp first. Small Stone have a very good Bandcamp page where you can check out the bands, try before you buy, and then, order the vinyl, the CD, and the merchandise from there. And don't forget Australian football. Tune in and enjoy the greatest game on the planet, and coincidentally, the only game on the planet for the time being.
Yeah.
And if you can't pick a team, just pick the yellow and black team. They're called the Tigers, and they're very good.
The Tigers. You're going to link that, right?
I can't.
Or no, you're going to send. No. You're going to send it to me.
Yeah, I can put it in the show notes. Sure, why not? So put it all in there.
All right.
But yeah, safe driving.
Thank you. And you as
better
well.
You than me.
Right. Well, you might be having, as we were talking earlier, a driving trip ahead of you as well. So
I don't know how far. If you drove 19 hours on the island of Java, you'd probably drive right around the outside and end up back where you started.
I don't know that I would drive 19 hours on the island of Java.
Anyway, I think we'll drive about 4 or 5 to the south coast and find a nice quiet beach somewhere for a couple of weeks. That sounds appealing to me. So
yeah,
we'll let you know next time we chat where we've ended up. We might just stay here and relax. Who knows?
Yeah.
Watch some footy. Thanks, listeners. It's been a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you listened to the Pale Grey Laws self-titled along with us and agree with us. We both really enjoyed it, and it's whet our appetite. Wet with a H, of course. And we're both really looking forward to the next one. Eschatology. And we'll give you a definition of eschatology in the next podcast as well. So look forward to that. Tune in. Hear all about Scott's big 19-hour drive. And we'll speak to you then.
All right. Cheers, everybody. Thank you.